how much money can you realistically make without social media, without all that stuff, selling just on eBay in 2025? That was the question that I got posed to me in the comment section. I get this question all the time sent to me, but it was in the comment section of a Facebook video, and there was responses to it, and it got me really thinking when I was reading those responses about the question and how I would answer it. And it's all everybody's different experiences, but I'm going to give my answer to that question relatively today. But I'm also going to read your responses that I've asked for on different social media, see if we can get an actual answer to this question. I guess the first time in years I haven't done the opening. Welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Welcome to the Commonwealth cabin. So just some parameters around the question this person asked, and it is, whoa, oh jeez, nothing if you do what I do here. This is turning into a day video. All right, this I'm so happy sold right here. I bought these forever ago. I mean, just forever, because it was Holly Hobby, and a lot of folks love Holly Hobby stuff, and I was like, oh, look, there's a dead moth in there. That's how long it's been here. And I was like, you know, I'm not passing these up for $1, so I grabbed them. Another dead moth. What do you know? That's how happy I am they're gone. And I got them home. I looked them up. I'm like, that really wasn't a good buy. And I listed them for $14.95. They've been on sale like 3 different times. $14.95 plus shipping. All right, little context, little parameters. Again, this person says they love watching my content. This is Facebook, so this is not, you know, the Commonwealth Flipper channel. Very, very different. I don't even air these videos over there. Although I might put this one over there at some point. I put picker videos and shorts and stuff like that. And so this person's like, hey, I love what you do. I want to do what you do. I'm thinking about doing this. You know, how much money can I realistically make in a year over there? And I think that's an interesting question. And of course, nobody's going to come to a consensus on it. But I think that we can maybe answer this question, even you part-timers out there who know what it takes. And then most of you are part-timers. Most people who resell are part-timers. I even claimed myself that I'm a part-timer because I don't put 40 hours a week into reselling. But that's beside the point. This isn't about me. But another parameter is this is without social media. This is without media feeding into live selling and all that. This is just strictly eBay reselling. Now, it is an open-ended question because I think most of us know that it really does depend on sourcing more than anything, and you have to have a rudimentary knowledge. So somebody who's starting out in that first year is going to make a little less. But let's just take it and say, all right, maybe somebody's already has experience with it for a year or so, and they're starting in 2025 as a main income generator. How much can they, maybe it's not their main income, but it doesn't matter. 40 hours a week, how much money can you make in 2025 in the current reselling climate with eBay alone if you put in 40 hours a week? Had to go in the eBay cave and grab this one. The box isn't in great shape, but it's a good seller, made a good profit. And I had to put the camera down because as I was coming in, there was a woodpecker gnawing on my post out there on that other cabin. Had to chase him off. He didn't like it. At any rate, obviously, well, I got to tell you about this item, but there are these parameters, like I said, and there's other stuff, and we all know this. You know, how much space do you have? Sourcing, I think, is the most important, but 40 hours a week. You put your comments below as I read some of these today. You know, I have the eBay cave in there, which we have probably, I don't know, about 400 items in there. We have about 18, no, that's not right. Well, about 1,700 items in here and all of these locations. And of course we have our merch and all that stuff that takes up a little bit of space as well. That cabin out there is just for incoming. So, you know, you could ask this question and say, you know, I'm single. This is about one person. This is not a couple. This is not a married couple or not married couple or whatever. This is one person. 40 hours a week with no help. They're doing all the sourcing. They're doing, now you could be creative in your sourcing where you're not going out, which might be, you know, my opinion is a mix, of course. I love going out so much that for me, it might reduce how much money I can make because I love the traditional sourcing. But there's many different options that you can do. And this does not include selling off at flea markets, Facebook Marketplace, whatever. This is eBay alone. By the way, it really does help when you find things for free. And I did 2 Rock Band dongles for free, along with a bunch of other stuff at a sale in the free side, which was awesome. And that was a quick seller for $19.95 plus shipping. Video game folks out there, I feel like these used to be a little bit more. Am I crazy? This one sold for 20 bucks, $19.95 plus shipping. Last time I answered this question on a video, I made the mistake of using me and my numbers as an example, and boy, I got just absolutely raked over the coals because people don't agree. And so the people that didn't agree with what I said, they were just laying into me. I mean, I was called everything in the book. I was a liar, I was a cheater, I was a disinformation, you know, social media monster. Like, whoa. So I'm not making that mistake this time. I'm going to read your comments. And I posted this everywhere. And I'm going to read them from different places. This is Despicable Me. Man, I've had this forever, y'all. Had it forever. This is, hold on a minute. It's Margot. Margot from Minions. Despicable Me. $10.46 plus shipping. I remember the exact sale that I bought this from. It was in Kentucky, northern Kentucky, right below Cincinnati after the Reseller rally. And I paid $1 for it. That lady was hilarious. It was a little unfortunate there because she said that Homeschooling Picker had been at her sale, you know, a week or two, or a few weeks before or something like that, and took all the good stuff. So I was left with that plush right there. And it was hanging around for a long, long time. It finally sold on 30% off. So I got a lot of comments that were general, which I was really looking for those numbers. I want to see people, you know, give me a range at least, right? Because there are variables. But got a lot of stuff like this from Stephen Banks. This is on Commonwealth Picker Facebook. I thought maybe I would pull it. The other ones are going to come from the Trash to Cash Facebook group and from my Instagram. So Stephen Banks says, depends on the area and what items you're selling. I do vintage clothing and work a full-time job. There's tons of comments like this. Sourcing really is the key, and that to me is the key. I mean, let's just face it. Let's do a hypothetical here. You could come across, maybe you do storage units, and you come across one storage unit that is just, you know, and this doesn't happen very often, but let's just hypothetically say it's just jammed full of nothing but sealed original, you know, stuff from the 80s, Mo2, Star Wars in the 70s, whatever it is. And it's just jammed full of it, and you paid $1,000 for it, which that stuff just doesn't happen often. But hypothetically, you know, you could make an awful lot with just one source right there. But that doesn't happen very much. So that's why I'm looking for a range. I'm going to get down to the nitty gritty and read these comments in full and give you the actual numbers that resellers answer this question at, people that are already doing it. And this hopefully will answer some of those folks' questions over there. I don't want it to be, you know, pie in the sky, because the reality, and I think we know this, is if you started reselling for the very first time, January 1st, 2025, you're not going to make much in 2025 unless you are just an absolute complete natural at sourcing and you understand everything on eBay. But that doesn't come very easily. It doesn't come very quickly. It comes with a little bit of experience. Sold another item from the top shelf. My buddy, the blue-eyed, blonde-haired my buddy, bought this, I think, last year in Arizona with my buddy Hustle Man. I don't know if I'll make it out there again this year or not. If I do, it'll be in January, I imagine. And I paid up a little for it. I think I paid like $10. I was looking for something to buy, and it sold for $30 plus shipping. Now, I answered this question in my mind, and I'm going to give you my answer at the end of the video. And hopefully, I'm right somewhere on track with this, but we'll see. Kathleen Parker, if I put in 40 hours a week just into eBay and nothing else, I'm pretty sure I could make $75K. This is all these numbers are going to be net profit. That's what I asked for. Unless somebody put it in and didn't, you know, but who's going to do that, right? Gross is definitely not net. I don't have the kind of time, though. I don't have that kind of time, though. I work 50 hours a week and have 2 little ones. Looks like this 30% off sale is kind of working a little bit for me. I just sold another item that's been around for a while. It is a 1984 action figure. It's a Voltron Skull Scavenger, I think the name of it is. I had it for a while. And it's sold. I'm hoping it's in, there it is right there. That guy right there sold. And it didn't sell for much, 30% off, $10.46 plus shipping. Bryson Clark over here, he says, well, that I'm not sure of. Let's see. I started reselling on the side while pastoring, and around May of this year, he started in May, and I've made $14,000 so far, starting in May. And I took the whole month of July off. Wow. Okay. That's really, I'm assuming part-time here, obviously, if you're pastoring. Let's see. Sidewall. Yeah. Full-time pastor. So I'm guessing if I really amped it up in 2025 and put in the work with 40 hours a week, and for a whole year, I'd be closer to $80,000 to $100,000 net profit. Okay. I'm going to read answers like this. Not that they're bad answers, they're good answers, but I'm going to read one more of these before we get down to strictly the numbers here. Too many unknowns to answer this question accurately. Yeah, I agree. I think most of us do. How much are you starting with? Is a big part of it. You know, how much capital or how much inventory, either one. What items are you going to specialize in, if any? You can make millions if you're selling the right things and have the bank to support that. Single, I mean, boy, you better be, millions. Net profit, you have to give me an example of what you're selling. I don't necessarily disagree, but we're talking one person here. And I know that might seem crazy to some folks out there. But, I mean, there are way different ways than this kind of reselling. I've heard of folks selling nothing but high-end watches that they're buying on these different markets across the world and whatever, and specializing, and they might make $100,000 profit on one watch or something like that. But, excluding these big-time outliers, get rid of the big-time outlier stuff, and that's the numbers we're going to focus on. Because we are, after all, talking about one single person with no social media. That makes it really hard. But Black Rifle Coffee Company, this shows it's my last one. I wonder if another one sold, but there's one more sitting in there. But this one, see what I mean? No social media, right? This one sold to a viewer. Half of these sold to viewers, actually. $20, 95 cents plus shipping. And, I get accused of being a fake reseller all the time, but I'll take that in exchange for about 20% of my sales going to viewers. I'm very appreciative of that. Joshua says, thank you for all your video content over the years. Oh, this is going to be a nice comment. I like this. I've been reading nothing but negative stuff about me lately, and I really shouldn't do that, but man, Reddit's hitting me hard. Social media, other folks on YouTube have hit me hard lately. Some of the videos on Facebook have just absolutely annihilated me. I don't know. I shouldn't talk about it. All right. I'm getting slightly thicker skin on YouTube, though. I've built my eBay store. Did I miss something? You're a true inspiration to me and to a lot of other people. I've built my eBay store to 975 sold items and current active items at 390 a year to date, and I only started January 2024. This person didn't even see my question. I truly do appreciate you, because without your content from YouTube, I don't know that I could have been that successful. That's very kind, very flattering. I appreciate that. That's not a typical story, by the way. Most people who watch this, and that's the other thing, we're going to talk about numbers here. There are a lot of people who fail miserably at eBay or reselling in general. They try it and they realize it's way harder than maybe they perceive by watching shows like this. Let's see. Merry Christmas to you. Have a wonderful and blessed new year as well, your family and your community of pickers. Joshua, I appreciate you very much. J_Ryan_Bargains_collectibles on eBay. That reminds me, you have the sold there. That's your all-time sold number. I wonder if I probably could look up my all-time sold number on this store. I had 2 previous stores. I only have one now, but I'm approaching 15,000 feedback, so you could translate that out, I guess. How many, what do you think? You get 25% people leave feedback or so? So, I don't know. I don't want to do the math. eBay Cave has also become the gift wrapping section of our house. Let's see here. Sold another jersey. I think it's this one. I bought 4 jerseys at one yard sale, and I'm already in the profit. Well into the profit, actually. So this one is pure profit at this point. $49.95 plus shipping. Amy Foy here says, I work part-time, about 15 to 20 hours a week, and I've grossed more than 50,000. Net profit after shipping and expenses is more like 25 to 30. And a lot of folks say that who are resellers. If your net is 50, pretty safe bet, depending on how you source and what you source. But if it's this style of sourcing, thrifting, obviously the prices are higher than garage sales. Storage units are hit and miss. But, 50,000 to make 25,000 is probably pretty close for most people. I think mine's a little higher than that, because I really don't do much thrift storing at all. I think my percentages might go down next year, but my profits might go up. Also, if you promote and there's other factors, but calculate that all out, you're looking at, 50 to 60,000 50 or 40 hours a week, maybe. I don't know that doubling your hours necessarily doubles your profits, but it can. It's kind of weird. I bought these the same day, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Bought these two the same day that I bought this Despicable Me plush right here out in Ohio or Kentucky, I guess. Large, size large, size large. I'm like, somebody might want those together. Might make it be easier to sell. And they bought them together, $24.95 plus shipping. Actually, it was $24 plus shipping. Paid 2 fees, $5.7. You make like $16 to $17 profit on something like that. I see some claim. This is Kim Loftus. I see some claim to make a ton of money, and they sell low priced items. I would love to make at least $75K a year or more. I think postal prices have really hurt sellers, is what she says. I think in some ways you're right, but I'll tell you what, some of this stuff lately, Ground Advantage and FedEx has been pretty reasonable for me to ship, especially these. I'm surprised, depending on where it's going, of course. And absolutely, but you know, I see a lot of people say, you know, you can't make whatever. There's only so many hours in the day, and you're selling $15 things. It takes up time. You know, how much money could you really make? It depends on how easy it is to ship, I suppose. I can tell you this. Dollar General doesn't sell high-priced stuff, and around my neck of the woods, there's a Dollar General popping up every 5 minutes. Sold a Mossy Oak camo jacket, size XL. Paid $5 for it. Sold it for $29.95 plus shipping. Janie says, if eBay's website keeps up like this, nothing. Casey says, I personally feel if you dedicated 40 hours a week, you should be able to get close to 6 figures net. We shall see. Diving in full-time 2025. I already sourced for the next year? Meaning you've already sourced for all of the next year? I love to hear that sourcing technique. I'm going to have to try it. I think this is our second. We had 2 viewer sales today, so I think we're shipping out 19 or 20 things today. 2 viewer sales, and this is an Elizabeth Arden. I picked these up. I saw it. I just saw Elizabeth Arden. Picked it up for $1. I knew it had value. Sold for $12.95 to Kelly plus shipping. Kelly says, love watching your YouTube videos. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. I guess I'll shout myself out. Go check out my Commonwealth Picker channel if you never have before. Maybe you're listening on Facebook. I think I will post a flipper video over there. I don't do too many. But this one might apply to all those folks over there. So you get a realistic expectation. I should do a video about the actual hard work. 40 hours of work. Not just like, yeah, I put in my 40 hours. It's like, you know, it's not. I know some people who work 40-hour-a-week jobs and they tell me they actually only work for like 12 hours. They sit around. I know some teachers like that too. Sad. At any rate, I really do think that people need to get a good perspective of this. This is not something, it's like, yeah, I don't want to go outsourcing today. I don't want to go to garage sales. I don't want to make connections. I don't want to make phone calls. I don't want to do storage. I don't want to do whatever. This is work, y'all. Here's a good comment. Makes me think a little bit from Gary. He says, honestly, somewhere between 30K and 125K. It's a big range, and I think that that's a fairly legitimate range. I'm going to give you my answer specifically in a little bit. It could be more, he says, but I feel even stumbling through at full time, putting in 40 hours a week, you should be able to profit 30K. And I don't agree, he says, I don't agree with the location comment, but I do think skill of the picker plays a huge part in it. All right, there's a lot of people in here, I haven't read them all, that have talked about location, and I often talk about location, and then I get blasted for talking about location. It doesn't matter where you live or whatever. It does and it doesn't. So here's what I'd say about this. Location does make a difference, period. If you're going to source in the ways that I source, location makes a mega difference, just a huge difference. Like, for instance, I went down to Dave's, I went down to Florida, and obviously it's a good time to source down there. It's not great up here, but in general, it was far, far more profitable sourcing out there than the time I would spend at the best times up here in the year. Now, that's not an excuse. That's just reality. I mean, let's say, okay, you say location doesn't matter at all. Okay, you live in, I don't know, Barrow, Alaska. You can't tell me location doesn't make a difference. Now, that's not to say somebody couldn't figure out a way to make it work up there and have stuff sent to them and whatever, but the cost of that and whatever. So that's why location does matter if you're thinking traditionally as far as sourcing. However, There are people that I know that live in areas that just simply don't have amazing garage sales or thrift stores or bin stores or storage units or whatever, and they still are resellers and they still are very, very successful. They're creative, they're hardworking, they make connections, and they can make it work. So I do think the location matters. It does. Call me crazy if you want to, but it absolutely does. Does it make the difference between making something work and not work? Sometimes yeah, sometimes no, just depending on how creative and how many connections you want to make. I'm so happy for this hat to be gone. Pinehurst, not in perfect condition either, but it's the 2005 US Open Pinehurst straw hat. Am I the only one who loves this? I so want to be there right now. I love watching these. When the camera's off, the music is on, and I just absolutely love it. I can't be the only one out there. But don't watch it, because then you're not watching me. If it's not bad, it's some other YouTuber out there. I enjoy watching reselling content. I might be one of the few who really enjoys it still. I can't get enough of it, actually. So this hat sold for $18.95 plus shipping, and they are a bit of a pain in the butt to ship. You got to use a large box, but you can keep these under a cubic foot. You know, not if you have a tall box that you don't cut down, but you got to cut that box down and keep it under a cubic foot. All right, Gina cheated a little bit here. She says, I'll tell you my goal number for just eBay. I'm hoping to make 60K next year. That would just about double what I made this year, which was my first year joining my husband full-time, who's been doing it part-time for many years. So he's part-time, you're full-time. But I don't think 40 hours a week is going to be how many we put in, considering we combine hours, etc. So, okay. You cheated a little bit because it's one person, but I get the point. Michael says, I think I could probably... Michael Jones, all-star contributor. This is on the Trash to Cash Facebook group. Thank you for being a member over there. Trash to Cash, is it podcast? Trash to Cash Reselling Group is what it's called. I think I could probably get close to 80K net before taxes. All this is, of course, before taxes. You know, and somebody used to ask me how much I used to make teaching. I didn't say what I made after taxes. I said what I made before taxes, of course. I think the most I ever made was 42K teaching. That was my 21st year of teaching. I think if I would have kept it going, they've actually had a few pay increases, of course, to meet, you know, inflation and whatever. I'd be in my 25th year of teaching, and I'd be making around 50, I think, maybe 51. I think that's right. I checked those numbers a little while ago. Not that I'm regretting my decision. I just wanted to know what my old colleagues are now making. Let's see here. He says, I think I'll probably make 80K before taxes. I've been consistently part-time reselling for the past 5 years. And I think that could slowly ramp up, although sometimes it doesn't. My full-time job pays better than that, so no reason right now to go full-time. So the woman's pair of Harley chaps. And size small, I think. Tough sellers, and what made it even harder is they're not in great condition. Sold on 30% off for $20.97 plus shipping. You might notice a lot less stuff on the table. My wife, well, I guess I'll tell you. My wife came out on the deck and she hollered my name, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? So I booked it out of here all the way up there just to get up there. She's talking to a friend on the phone, and she says, I don't want a Christmas present. I want a Christmas vacation this year. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it looks like I'll be having to work a little harder this year to pay for this. We'll see. All right, this one, so that goes back to my point here. After I got done talking to her and everything, I'm like, I don't have enough time to get all this stuff shipped and get to the post office. My dad's out of town. So I packaged it all up and went to the post office, and now I'm back, and she's got me going to a movie later too, so hopefully dinner. I'm getting hungry. Any rate, this one is funny. Ryan Lovelace says, at least enough for beer money, sometimes enough for food too. Either you have expensive taste in beer and food, or you're not making that much money on eBay, but I appreciate the funny reply here. Let me find another one. I found one from somebody I know, Justin. Molly and Justin Ott, and this is Ott's Antiques. Some of you may know them. They do a little bit of selling over on One Stop Shop on District. They've done a little bit with Shop Commons, and Dib did as well. So, any rate, nice to see y'all commenting on here. He says, Molly doing it full-time and me maybe 10 hours a week. We're on track to do $260,000 in total sales, and estimated total profit about $180,000. I'll be sure to tell the IRS, Justin. I'm kidding. With that said, though, those numbers aren't able to be reached by just doing garage sales, estate sales, and thrift stores alone, especially in our area. I think that is without a doubt true. I haven't had an animal in here all day until now. The dogs still aren't allowed out here, but a couple more days. I'll be back out here if you're missing Poncho and Wallen. Maybe the kids can bring them down. Polo shirt. This isn't anything amazing. I was a little surprised to see how well this thing sells. It looks like it's got a vintage look to it. I mean, it's not vintage, but it made to look that way. A little pullover hoodie. $27.95 plus shipping. Not bad for a dollar buy. We have to do a giveaway here. Have to announce one and have another giveaway. And I'm going to read some more comments. I like the next one. Diane Johnston Davis wins a 4-pack of My Go-To tape from American Bubble Boy. Go check them out. Use code Commonwealth 5% off. And Diane, if you email me, commonwealthpicker@gmail.com, we'll send you a code. You can go over to mygototape.com or americanbubbleboy.com. It's both the same thing. And you can enter that code in and you can get your 4-pack of tape. Just send me that email. And for those of you out there, we're giving away this stuff every episode here. So go ahead and put My Go-To #2 tape, all one word, down below. We'll pick a winner for next time as well. And I don't have a list up. Rod says, lots of variables, but 100K is doable. 1 year is not so hard. Doing it every year and adapting is much more difficult. But if you learn quickly and recognize changes, it can be done. Grams and Pops Vintage commented here. YouTube channel, go check them out. This is obviously a trick. I'm not going to give you my secrets. And he's up in the, northern Midwest there, I guess. I don't know, how would you characterize it? At any rate, that reminds me, I got to shout out their Planes to Profit meetup in the spring of next year. You guys should go check it out. And I know the people who went last year had a great time. I don't think I'm coming this year. I didn't come last year either. But I've heard wonderful things about it. Y'all go check it out. I'm going to put a link down below, Planes to Profit, or I'll just put it in the screen right here. And you can go check that out if you're out there. And I think it's in, did we say it was in Omaha? Is that what I said it was? I should probably figure that out for you. But go check that out. Lad Davis, and he's a commenter over on Trash Cash Podcast, so you know this will probably have a little something in it. Sure, there's lots of variables. I'm an experienced picker, seller, living in the land of milk and honey, something I say often over there, so he put that in quotes, of Florida. And I'm very part-time. If I no longer had my current full-time job, I believe I could pull in 80K, if not closer to 100K. I actually posed this question to Dave, and now that Carrie lives down there as well. I said, Dave, if you worked 40 hours a week on nothing but reselling on eBay, what could you make? And to be honest, I can't remember what he said, but I want to say he said 100 to 150, or maybe it was 125. And I have no doubt that Dave, 40, he can jam 60 hours of work into 40 hours. So it also depends on what those 40 hours look like as well. How efficient are you? How focused are you? I know people, I guess this is where I'll give my answer. I know people who work 40 hours a week who make $25,000 net profit a year. To me, that's hard to do. I just can't imagine why anybody couldn't make at least 30, putting in 40 reasonable hours of work into this. That's, to me, the low bar on it. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me, it would be hard to make that little working 40 hours, unless your working looked a lot like dawdling. Is that mean to say? I don't know. That's just the way I feel. Hey, Reagan is not here today, so she can't thank the folks who bought from CommonwealthPicker.com. But she did tell me something this morning I'm going to pass on to y'all, and she'll be back. These are some Nike Air Monarchs. Paid $5, sold for $38.95 plus shipping. She told me she moved what was left over on CommonwealthPicker.com. She left a couple and moved everything else over to, she moved what was on Dibdit.com over to CommonwealthPicker.com. She left a couple over there and says there are 7 left total. So there's a bag back there with a couple in it, I guess. Her treasure, his junk, said, I'd second the 60K net profit for people who live in average markets. Okay? Hey, babe.
Hey, I'm on my way home right now. Do y'all want me to stop and bring food?
I thought we were going to go out and eat dinner. That's what I said. I said I want to go out and eat dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go eat something. All right, sold another keychain, 30% off. This is Z28 keychain. I can't believe I'm saying this, y'all. Here they are. We're down to 19 of these. We had hundreds, if you remember. What are they going for? 10 something at this point. They're 30% off. 1046 we're selling these for. I gotta be honest, these numbers are a little higher than I thought some people would say. Jim Inslee says 100 to 100K, 100 to 120K. Zach says average around 90K. Gabriel says 100K. Let's see what else we got. Dylan says full-time 60 hours, 60K. Ashley says 40 to 60K is reasonable. Nick says eBay sucks. So another one of these, Liberty University. I think I mislisted it. I think I've listed 4 when I had 5. Liberty University Stadium giveaway appreciation. What did they call it? I can't remember what they called it. Military appreciation, I think is what it was. $12.95 plus shipping. Squeeze a couple more predictions in, or not predictions, I don't know, opinions in here. Sharon says $150,000 net easy. Mike says 40K. So I guess I'll give my ultimate opinion right here, and this is just my opinion, but I am very happy that my opinion kind of matches the high end and low end here. I think, and there's outliers to both of these, but I think between 20, depending on all kinds of things, but one of the biggest depending parts of this thing is how much work can you squeeze into 40 hours? There's only so many hours in the day. And I do know this, and that's why I said 40 hours. I know a lot of resellers who make big bucks, but they spend like 60 to, I mean, some of them just work nonstop. It's just reselling and sleep. And that's not much of a life. But, you know, I think there's a big difference between somebody working 40 hours and somebody working 60. And a lot of full-timers work 60. And a lot of folks, the vast majority of resellers out there probably work between 10 and 15. So I'm not we talk about full-time. I don't put in 40 hours a week. On reselling, I put in 60, 70, 80 hours a week sometimes, but not all of it on reselling. So at any rate, I think my prediction would be somewhere low end 25,000, high end 150,000 net profit a year, depending on circumstances, depending on how much work you can put into that, and your sourcing techniques are priority number 1 for that. And I've talked about that before. So I guess I agree with most folks out there on this. And some folks will disagree with me, and that's fine too. I've said this before, I'll just say it at the end here. I don't work 40 hours a week on reselling. And on eBay alone, if I did by myself, no help from my wife, no employee, no social media, no nothing, on my own 40 hours a week, I'm pretty certain that I could make close to 100,000 in a not great area to source. And it would require me to get out of my typical sourcing habits, which I have started to grow out of a little bit. But I think it's possible. I wouldn't guarantee it, but it's possible. Now, I already do. I make more than that now reselling, but it's because, you know, you could argue social media and the live selling platforms and the other platforms I sell on and stuff like that. And we definitely get over that mark, but well over that mark, actually. Ford Turner. Had to get my golf club head cover bin out. Haven't had to do that in a while. Old Cleveland Launcher Turbo, it's sold on 30% off. Haven't touched that bin in months. $11.89 plus shipping. Haven't gotten this bin in a while either. I think it's the last thing I put in this bin. It is. Here it is. Little Harley Davidson belt buckle and belt. And it's sold on a 5% offer. And it's sold for $25.60 plus shipping. But there is so many things that it is dependent on. So I appreciate the answers. These are good answers. I really, really like the thought process and the opinions that go along with those answers. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Thank y'all for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next time.